Hi, I'm Ed from Syvecs and this is another Syvecs Says. This week I'm talking about grounds, in particularly sensor grounds within an ECU. The most important thing to remember with sensors is that they all must share one common ground point. Now, on some vehicles, Nissans in particular, that's just something I've worked with a lot over the years, they'll use a single ground point that will originate from the inlet manifold. Quite often this can be a source of problems as the vehicles get older, but the point is that the ECU uses this single point of reference for all sensor grounds. It doesn't necessarily have to be this way. If you're making an aftermarket loom and you're completely doing everything custom, you might decide not to do this. But what you would want to do is run every sensor back to the same ground point, and then that's fed to the ECU. The majority of ECUs, and certainly ours, have a dedicated sensor ground. In the case of Syvecs ECUs, we have 2 or 3 sensor grounds, and at least 2 of them will be protected sensor grounds that for their sole purposes, if you have a sensor failure or if there's a wire short or something happens, the ECU can protect the ground supply to the sensor and stop big problems happening. Obviously, if you have a problem like this, you're going to have problems with the engine running, but the point is it stops damage causing things. This is quite important to know and realise that you can't therefore mix and join grounds after they've left the ECU. So for example, you don't join a power ground at any point in the loom to a sensor ground. You have to ensure that all your main and important sensors, so for example, I would use air temperature sensor, manifold pressure sensor, maybe oil things, throttle position sensor, those kind of crank position sensors, the critical ones that are required for the engine operation and engine protection are just dedicated to one sensor ground, and then I'd have the other ground, for example, maybe information sensors or protection sensors that aren't quite as critical to the operation of the running of the engine. You wouldn't necessarily join them all together with an ECU that provides you multiple ground outputs. The benefits in doing this really are noise. So for an ECU to computate and calculate what's going on, it has to trust the data that's coming into it. And in order to trust the data, it has to be clean. And the whole point of separating sensor grounds from power grounds is to ensure that heavy current loads, say for example from injectors, you might have boost control solenoids, you may have even nitrous solenoids, or anything that drives a coil or something that has a high inrush current is completely separate from your sensor supplies, so that it doesn't cause interference and then noise coming into the system that the ECU treats as valid real data. It can't know otherwise, and then starts doing things wrong. That's pretty much in a nutshell as simply as I can put that today. If you'd like to find out more information, have a look at some of our other videos, follow us online, and you're also free to ask us directly. If you enjoyed this video, give this video a like, subscribe to us, and we'll see you on the next video.